Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into one of history's most, intense and misunderstood subjects, Aztec human sacrifice. It's something that on the surface is just shocking. But when you dig in, you find this incredibly complex system of belief, of politics, and even psychology. So let's get into it and peel back those layers together. So let's just start with the reality of it. This account from the Florentine Codex, it's graphic, it's visceral, and it doesn't leave much to the imagination. The point is, this wasn't some symbolic act. This was a real, physical, and absolutely central event in their world. And that really brings us to the big question, the one that hangs in the air, right? The Aztecs. They built these incredible cities. They had unbelievably complex calendars, a rich culture. So why? Why was this bloody, brutal ritual at the absolute heart of everything they were? If you're already hooked by that question, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps other people find this explainer. To get to the bottom of that, here's our game plan. We're going to start by facing that reality head on. Then we'll get into the cosmic reasons, the political angle, how it shaped their society, and finally, the really fascinating part, the psychology of what it was like to actually be there, watching it all happen. So, first things first, confronting that brutal reality is step one. It's a tough image to hold in your mind, I know, but it's essential. Because to understand why it happened, we have to first accept that it happened, exactly as described. Okay, so let's get into the why. At its absolute core, the reason for all of this was religious. The Aztecs truly believed that sacrifice was necessary to keep the universe running, literally to keep the sun rising every morning, and to stop the world from collapsing into total darkness. For them, this wasn't just a ritual, it was essential cosmic maintenance. And this whole belief system comes directly from their creation story. You see, the god Quetzalcoatl created us, humanity, not from dirt or clay, but by going to the underworld, gathering the bones of previous generations, and then sacrificing his own divine blood to give those bones life. So in their worldview, life itself was literally born from a divine sacrifice. And that created this profound, inescapable debt. Humanity owed the gods. Since the gods gave their blood for us, it was humanity's sacred duty to repay them with the most precious thing we had, human blood and hearts. They called it precious eagle cactus liquid, and they believed it was the food that nourished the gods and kept the cosmos going. But, and this is a huge but, this deeply held religious belief didn't exist in a bubble. The Aztec Empire was brilliant, and they wove this cosmic duty into an incredibly powerful tool for earthly politics and imperial control. Yeah, let's just be blunt about it. These sacred rituals became a seriously potent strategy for building and maintaining an entire empire. It was an act of faith, for sure, but it was also an act of statecraft. And this political function was a multi-tool. Think about it. These massive public sacrifices of captured enemy warriors sent a terrifying message to any rival states. This was political theater on a massive scale, all designed to intimidate, to punish anyone who stepped out of line, and to project this image of absolute, unquestionable power. This is some seriously fascinating, if brutal, strategy. If you agree and you want more deep dives like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And the main stage for all this political theater was the Templo Mayor, right in the capital, Tenochtitlan. To them, it was the literal center of the universe, the axis mundi. And, get this, with every new ruler, they would literally build a whole new layer on top of the temple, making it physically bigger and bigger. It was a growing monument to their expanding power. Okay, so we have the divine reason and we have the political reason. But how did this actually affect the average person on the street? Well, this whole ideology was woven into the very fabric of their society, creating what scholars now call a warrior/sacrifice cult. The entire social structure was basically geared towards this. A man's worth, his status, his ability to climb the social ladder, it all came down to one main thing. How many captives could he take in battle to be sacrificed? For a commoner, this was one of the only ways to get ahead in life, which created this incredibly powerful motivation for constant warfare and expansion. By the way, if you're finding these different angles interesting, a quick like really helps others discover this explainer. And hey, drop a comment below letting me know which layer you find the most surprising so far. And now for our final layer. And honestly, this might be the most surprising one. What was it actually like to be in that crowd? How could thousands of people watch something so brutal and feel okay with it, or even feel good about it?
Well, modern psychology has some pretty mind-blowing theories.
So first up is something called terror management theory. It sounds complicated, but the core idea is actually pretty simple. It says that we humans are fundamentally terrified by the knowledge that we're all going to die. And to cope with that terror, we cling to these big cultural belief systems, things like religion or nationalism, that make our lives feel meaningful and give us a sense of symbolic immortality. So if you were an Aztec spectator, watching this ritual wasn't just horrifying. In a very strange way, it was deeply reassuring. It was proof that your worldview was the correct one, that you were part of this powerful, meaningful cosmic order. It reinforced that sense of meaning, and paradoxically, that actually helped reduce your own personal fear of death.
Then you've got this other thing, excitation transfer theory. This one's all about how our bodies process intense emotions. It suggests that the physical arousal from one event, a racing heart, a shot of adrenaline, can get carried over and basically transferred to the next event. So the intense fear and shock from watching the sacrifice could get reinterpreted during the massive feasts and celebrations that followed, making the feelings of joy, euphoria, and community bonding feel even more intense.
And the key concept that makes this all work is what researchers call the protective frame. Think about it. A real battlefield is chaotic, it's unpredictable, it's dangerous for everyone. But the sacrificial stone, that's a controlled environment. It's predictable. The audience could get all the thrilling arousal of a life and death struggle, but from a position of total safety. It basically turned cosmic terror into a psychologically rewarding form of entertainment. So, as you can see, there is no single easy answer. Aztec sacrifice was this deeply complex thing that was working on all these different levels at the same time. It was a sincere religious belief, a cynical political weapon, a social engine, and a powerful psychological spectacle, all rolled into one. Putting all these pieces together is what this channel is all about. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, please consider subscribing. It's the absolute best way to support what we do here.
And all of this leaves us with one final big thought. We might not have sacrificial stones today, but we absolutely have our own grand spectacles. Think about massive sporting events or the 24-hour news cycle. They thrill us, they unite us, they scare us, and they definitely reinforce our worldviews. So the question to leave you with is, how are the spectacles we watch today shaping our societies, our politics, and our own psychology? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.